on your podcast, the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, you just made your 2025 NFC predictions. Which division was the toughest to sort out for you, and which was the easiest?
Easiest was probably the NFC East, because it's hard for me to fathom a scenario where it's not Eagles, Commanders, and then probably Cowboys, Giants.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about that. I know the stat about nobody wins that division back-to-back years. Boy, that would surprise me if the Eagles don't win it this year. Really surprise me. The toughest is probably the NFC West, because you don't really know what the 49ers are going to be. Was last year the beginning of the end, and they're kind of old and oft injured, or did they bounce back in a major way, which is kind of what I'm predicting? You don't really know what the Seahawks have in Sam Darnold. Is he really a good quarterback now, or did he catch lightning in a bottle with Kevin O'Connell last year and those receivers, and does he come back to earth? The Rams, with Matthew Stafford's back issue, that's a major question mark. And everybody kind of forgets that the Cardinals were a lot better last year, and they spent some decent money this offseason on guys like Josh Sweat, and they think they're going to take the next step. So, there's probably not an order of those four teams that you could lay out there that I would say, no chance, that's not happening, no way. Whatever order is in, I think is probably justifiable. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's probably justifiable.
What do you think about the rookie quarterback class? I mean, obviously we have a rookie here. We don't expect to see him much this year, but I think the 2025 rookie class could be better than what people expect. I don't think it's going to touch 2024, but what do you think about the rookie QB class?
Yeah, I think so much in life on some level is like expectations, right? So if you go to a movie or you have to watch a movie and you think it's going to stink, and then you go and it's just an average movie, you're like, that was pretty good. I like that. Because you went into it because your wife made you go and you didn't feel like it, and you thought it was going to stink, or your kids made you go to this animated movie that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm only going because my kids want me to go. And at the end of it, you're like, wow, that was actually pretty good. I think that's what the 2025 quarterback class can be, right? I mean, everybody was so down on it, but, I think Cam Ward has a real shot. Jackson Dart has looked really good thus far. For the Giants, again last night, we haven't seen Will Howard, but I'm still bullish on Jalen Milroe, who you guys took. Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel have both played well in the one game they played in. So I am kind of with you. I do think it could end up being better than people think going into it.
What makes you pretty bullish on Milroe?
Well, so I did the Alabama-Ole Miss game a couple years ago, and that was the first game he got the job back. They had actually benched him, and then he got the job back. To me, there's a lot of similarities between Milroe and Jalen Hurts. I think the difference is that Milroe, is definitely faster and more explosive as a runner, and he definitely has a stronger arm. Now, Hurts is like a 10 out of 10 intangible guy, so I don't know Milroe well enough to know that he's that, but I want to say, I don't know if he won the Campbell Trophy, but he was certainly up for it. He had a really high GPA. Everybody you talk to kind of raves about him as a young man. So if you're going to give me the guy with like the fastest GPS times for the Alabama Crimson Tide and a rocket of an arm, and he's a high academic kid and a great kid, boy, I'm going to bet on that guy. I'm going to do what John Schneider did. I'm going to bet on that guy. And, whatever the development he needs is the development he needs. But it feels like he has the right things in place to be able to reach his ceiling, whatever it is. And I think if you design the right type of offense for him, remember, it was a journey for Hurts. Like his not that great. His second year, it mainly like RPOs, and he ran the ball a lot. Then his third year is when he really took off. I can see Milroe having a similar path.
I've been doing some research. I'm getting ready to call the ASU versus North Arizona game, and I'm watching the quarterback they have over there, Sam Levitt, or Leavitt. Excuse me if I'm jacking his name up. I'll get it right before the game. And I'm watching him, and he looks like the modern quarterback. So I hear you. He's mobile. Obviously, he has a big arm. But I'm hearing you talk about Milroe, and I'm thinking, like, this is the way the position is going, right? You no longer are going to have the Peyton Mannings, the Drew Brees stand in the pocket and let that thing go. Obviously, you have to work from the pocket. How have you seen this position change, and what type of offense do you think fits that type of quarterback?
Well, so the interesting aspect of that, right, is that the only guys that can do the pre-snap, the guys you reference, that's not really much of a thing in college anymore, right? So that's what Brees did at Purdue and Brady did at Michigan and Peyton did at Tennessee. So when they came to the NFL, they already had a track record of kind of running the show mentally and winning that way. And there's, by the way, still some guys in the NFL, like that's Joe Burrow. You know, Joe Burrow is the closest thing we have right now to what Peyton Manning was in terms of he's just got that computerized brain and he beats people mentally. There aren't as many guys like that because they didn't do it in college. And so to expect a guy to all of a sudden have to do that in the NFL, that is really asking a lot. That's asking. Now, they do exist. You know, I'm driving right now to MetLife Stadium. I'm doing the Eagles and the Jets tonight, preseason television. I do the Eagles television. And the Eagles have a backup quarterback named Tanner McKee from Stanford, and that's the kind of player he is. He's like 6'6", and he just is super smart, and he goes through his progression so quickly. So I do think you can still win that way. I just think it's going to be few and far between, and that there's a lot more guys that are going to be able to do it more a combination of their physical ability, like a Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes type, and the mental stuff. You know, they still have to be good mentally. You know, that's like you can't just have the physical ability because otherwise then you're Anthony Richardson, who really struggles to do the easy things, right? And that's not just the mental part. He just misses layups. Like Anthony Richardson, could miss 3 checkdowns and then have the greatest 80-yard bomb touchdown you've ever seen in your life. The problem is it's really, really hard to sustain offense if you miss the layups. And Anthony, unfortunately, gets hurt too much, so they can't really count on him from the running aspect of it. But then also he misses way too many layups, both from an accuracy standpoint and from a mental standpoint in terms of knowing where to go with the ball. And then it becomes impossible for a coach to call plays, right? You have to at least be able to make the layups. You got to be able to play quarterback 101 and 201 probably. Not everybody has to get to level 301, 401, 501. But if you can't do quarterback 101, I really don't care how talented you are. You can't play. They can't play that way.
I wanted to first, before we do that, focus just on Jalen Milroe. He will start from beginning to end for this game. We're going to get a very good look at him. And in an ideal world, it's kind of the last time we see him play a game for Seattle. And that doesn't mean that he can't be capable, that he can't grow and develop. But the plan is Sam's your starter, and you want that to go well. So this is kind of our last big look at what he can do. And I am really curious to see some wow moments because, Bump, I got to be honest, this coaching staff sounds very intrigued by Jalen.
And you should be. My man rushed for 20 touchdowns last year. His season before last year was better as a thrower. Did have a new offensive coordinator, learning a new offense. There's going to be some setbacks there. But I think he is, top 10 most athletic guys in the league right now at the quarterback position, which is it's funny to say. I remember when guys like him were forced to be receiver or running backs or whatnot, but they're letting him do his thing. And I forget who I was talking to. It was somebody in the Seahawks upstairs management. I forgot who I was talking to, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you his name. He told me how he just controls the room. As a third-string quarterback, the leadership is there. You kind of feel it. You see it. He comes from a great background with his parents. So it should be fun, man. I expect some mistakes. I'm going to talk about that in 4-down territory, but he's going to make some mistakes, but you got to let him go. I remember watching like my daughter play her first soccer game. Most athletic kid out there, so many mistakes. But you're like, you know what? We can work with this. And I think that's the way they're going to view Jalen Milroe as he plays every snap.
Here's what Mike McDonald had to say about the opportunity.
I think it's just a great opportunity for him to get great experience. All rookies, they need reps, they need experience, and Jalen's right there. I know he's really excited for the opportunity, and he's going to do a great job. So go out and operate the offense and go play ball the way you know how, and let's go.
What does, like, I know in theory what a great game looks for him, right? Like, we can all think of the stats that would be really cool, but when you think about it from a coach's perspective, Bump, what do you actually want to see from Jalen here? What do you want to see him do?
The basics. You want to see him get out of the huddle on time. So he has time to make his cadence, have the motions happen. It's going to happen on 9 out of 10 plays, diagnose the defense. You want to see him protect himself. You're getting blitz, slide the protection, move your running back. You want to see him be on time with some throws. The great thing about this offense is that the open throws are so obvious sometimes because of the play action, because of the motion, because of the deception that Kubiak creates with the patterns or whatnot. You just want to see him make the easy throws. And that's what Sam Darnold did such a great job of last week. Oots open in the flat, hit him in the flat. Jason opened in the flat, hit him in the flat. I believe it was a tight end. I think it was A.J. Barner. A.J. Barner opened with the spacing concept, which is like a hitch, hit the spacing. It's clear as day what they're trying to do. So not have them make the game harder than it has to be. But then I guarantee you, Kubiak is saying, you got the green light. If we are rolling you out and there is nothing there, you get on your horse and you just go and get out of bounds and be safe. So you want to see just a fluidness to this offense, but there will be mistakes. He is a rookie. So if you're expecting him to light it up the way Drew Lock did his second outing or even his first outing, don't expect that. If he does it, so be it. Good for him, but I don't expect that.
I didn't have this written down as a question, but something I'm thinking of just while we're talking. You mentioned, it's really interesting because when you were saying that Jalen could be like a top 10 athletic player at his position, that the conversations around those guys used to be so different and that player previously would have been moved to another position. Something I was thinking of also when you said that is, and we never would have thought about how he could develop and grow. Because the idea would be that he has some kind of intellectual or true quarterback pocket passer ceiling. And what's the point of developing a guy if these physical tools are going to wear as he gets older? And I just think that the way we think about quarter development has changed so much that it's allowed for someone like Jalen to have a chance to be a project, to have a chance for a team to look at him and go, we're not going to waste him by him not playing this year. We can actually continue to really develop him and see what we can get out of him. Like development, I think people have a much broader view of how long it could take or what kind of potential is there than they used to, including with mobile quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's different. Even if, your skills are going to diminish. Peyton Manning threw ducks by the end of his career and still led the most prolific offense we've ever seen of all time with the Denver Broncos. Granted, Legion of Boom took care of that. But so what if your skills diminish? You're still going to have that skill somewhat, And I think that's important that coordinators and head coaches and GMs view players that way. And what it does, it just opens up doors for your offense. You can do some things with a Jalen Milroe that you wouldn't be able to do with a great like Dan Marino. And it just opens up the possibilities. So I love that offenses are going that way. I love that the position is going that way. And I think just the evolution of the human being, right? Just the physical, the training and all that stuff. Most quarterbacks, you have to be mobile. I'm going to pull up the top 10 passers of last year. You stop me when you hear a statue. I think there's one in this, but you let me know when you hear just a statue guy.
Okay.
Maybe two. Joe Burrow.
No.
Jared Goff. Probably a statue. Probably. He ain't moving. He ain't moving.
Okay.
He ain't moving. He got a little beer belly, too.
Okay.
He ain't moving.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield. Geno Smith. Sam Darnold. More mowing than what people give him credit for.
He can scoot.
Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes. Aaron Rodgers. My man's 58. Like, come on, he's 58. Justin Herbert can move a bit, and Brock Purdy, he can do his thing too. So just the position is changing. There's not too many statues, and the statues are guys who were born in the 80s, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I would think also long before the 80s.
Yeah.
Last minute and a half here, so I'm going to throw in. This isn't about Jalen, but it is about the quarterback competition, about quarterbacks as a whole. Question from a listener. 253 says, Mike McDonald really doesn't like playing his starters, does he? I feel like Sam Darnold hasn't gotten much game time at all, which I think is going to be a mistake. Do you think it's a mistake?
No. I think your job is to get the guy you paid $37 million to the regular season. He's getting more out of these joint practices. I wish those things were televised. Because if you saw the joint practices, you see all the reps that he's getting because that's as live as it gets. Mm-hmm. But we know you can't touch the precious quarterback. That's why they wear different jerseys, because if you don't have your guy out there, your chances of you winning a Super Bowl just go down. Granted, we don't think this team's going to win a Super Bowl. Nick Foles, bear down, is the last backup quarterback to win a Super Bowl.